Hi, I'm Stefan.
I'm Cara.
And we're here to talk about our favourite trans movies.
So you're a boy, now what?
So the first movie I want to talk about is Boys Don't Cry. It's based on a true story, and it's not the happiest of stories, but I feel like it does quite accurately reflect what a lot of trans people go through. It is quite sad, but I feel like the way that they portrayed the experience as a trans man was quite accurate. I think especially for the time, they must have done their research. I mean, he packs at one point, and he's talking about wanting surgery and wanting to go on hormones and everything. So they knew what they were talking about, or they tried anyway. There was definitely an effort, which I appreciate. And I mean, I think the biggest criticism for that film would just be that it was played by a cis woman, but considering it was made in 1999, that I feel was just quite impressive. Just the fact that they wanted to give a voice to this guy who was a real person. I remember it sticking out to me because even before I knew I was trans, I watched this film and was floored.
I feel like every trans person finds that film where they're just I really relate to this. Before you come out, before you transition,
I was
why does this feel so real? So another film that I want to tell you about was TRANSFINITE, which is actually made by a non-binary filmmaker, which is, so I'm on board straight away. The best way I can put it, it was just dead trippy.
Okay.
Really trippy. I was watching it in places and I was just I have no idea what's going on. No idea what's going on. But I love it.
Please never leave me. You're my queen. Could never be me. Perfect.
You have to watch it.
I'm gonna have to give it a watch now. Next film I want to talk about is called Brace. It's a short film. It's written by a trans man and features that same trans man along with another one. I mean, the core point of the story is neither one knows the other one is trans when they meet.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So they both assume the other one is cis and just gay, and it's basically deals with a lot of internalized transphobia. It's relatable and it's real.
Yeah, I feel like everyone goes through intense self-internalized transphobia at some point in that transition. It definitely does happen.
Sometimes it just takes people a while to accept themselves. So
definitely, I mean, I transitioned 5 years ago, and I feel like the last 2 years was the most pivotal for me when I finally started to there was so much that I didn't know. Yeah,
it's entertaining. It's got a good script. The two trans guys are played by trans guys. It was written by a trans man, and that's the kind of film that I'm looking for.
Trans is big.
I hope
not. Paris is Burning. It was a documentary that people had talked about a lot. When I watched Paris is Burning, I didn't know what a trans person was. So when I saw it, it really opened up my mind, and it wasn't made up, it was real, it was real people. It was a documentary, and there was so many memorable quotes from it, which is inspired the show Pose.
Oh, okay.
Which is and there's so many references in Pose to that film, and in RuPaul's Drag Race and all that sort of stuff. And it's a very controversial documentary as well. Some people...
Why is it controversial?
Because of how it was kind of filmed by a cisgendered straight white person going into that scene, and it was and some people thought it was very from their kind of point of view, which I think is valid.
I'm not just looking for sex. I want to find love. Maybe I should date girls.
I'm a fan. Yeah, check one out, see how you like it.
So, Boy Meets Girl, basically a rom-com.
Yeah.
Which you never see. Trans movies are always sad and
always
angsty and full of trauma. She gets a happy ending too.
Yeah. She's funny and she's rude and she's do you know what I mean? Rude in the sense of she's got no filter and she's just a bit gobby and I remember early in my transition, I remember thinking I had to kind of conform to this kind of
I was just about to say
standard.
Is it you feel you have to be really, really nice and polite to cis people so that they gender you correctly.
Exactly.
How did you feel about that scene at the end when she comes out of the lake naked and she's pre-op?
Loved it.
So
absolutely loved it.
The fact that she was just so brazenly this is my body, and I love it, so deal with it.
It was so great.
It was so good.
It was so great. Next up, we've got Mavi and Rose, also known as My Life in Pink. So it was a film in 1997. It was made 1 year before I was born.
It knew.
It knew. So everyone knows this character as a boy. But they're actually a trans woman, and there's this one scene where she's playing with her mum's makeup, which is just such a thing.
Is that a mood?
It's such a mood. I don't think the actor is trans.
I think we're still allowed to like movies even if the protagonist isn't portrayed by a trans person. Obviously that's not preferable. I would love it if all trans movies had trans actors, but there are some films that they're so old that they either weren't gonna just make the effort of finding the actor, or it would have been hard to find actors back then because everyone would have been much more closeted and much more scared. My next film is Tangerine, which, I mean, if you haven't seen, you should watch it because it's so good. It's about two trans women, played by trans women, and they're both trans women of colour. And the entire film was shot on an iPhone.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
And you can't tell, like, it looks so good.
It's so good.
White.
Who is she?
Her name starts with a D.
Danny.
Desiree.
Destiny?
You're making me lose my game.
She's some white fish. That's her. She know me with real fish. Yeah, like a real fish, girl, like vagina and everything.
Another film I love is Romeos, which is about a trans guy who's actually also gay, which is a really interesting thing to see. The amount of times I was like, oh my god, me. Oh my god, same. I do that. Relatable. I mean, I don't know who they spoke to get this kind of information. Clearly they did their research, because I mean the actor's cis, and I think the people who wrote it were cis and everything, but they must have done their research. He sits on the toilet, takes his packer out and puts it on the side of the bath and doesn't fall in the loo.
Oh my God.
The amount of times I've done that,
Really?
I was like, yeah. Thanks for watching.
Let us know what your favourite trans film is in the comments.